Hello and welcome back to Good Game Nation, where we bring you all things TCG. My name's Preston. Today we are reviewing the color black in OP10 Royal Bloodlines. And this is a continuation of multiple sets, I think. We're getting some Dressrosa, we're getting some Thriller Bark, and we're also getting some Blackbeard Pirates. So let's jump in and look at our leader. First up, we have our Ussop Leader. We've been waiting for more leaders from the Straw Hat crew, and we finally got our Ussop, and I don't think it disappoints at all. I think this is a very interesting leader. Let's start out with its effect. All characters with the characteristic Dressrosa with a cost of 2 or more get an increased cost of +1. During your opponent's turn, once per turn, when a character with the characteristic of Dressrosa gets KO'd or leaves the field due to an opponent's effect, you can activate this. If you have 5 or less cards in your hand, draw 1 card. That's really interesting. I talked about it back in the blue color review, so if you haven't seen that, I talked about Ussop there as well. Being able to draw cards is really nice. Being able to draw cards when you lose a character on board, it's also pretty cool. You do have to limit your hand size to continue to get this effect, but it's an interesting idea, and I'm looking forward to seeing what I do with it and what other people do with this leader. Now, let's jump into our, I believe, solo SR for the set, and my goodness, this card. Okay, permanent effect. This character cannot be removed from the field by your opponent's effects. That's crazy. Can't be KO'd by effects, can't be sent back to your hand or to the bottom of the deck. It cannot be removed by effects. That's crazy. Event cards that KO stuff. Just what were they thinking? It just gets crazier though. It just gets so much crazier. You can place this character into the trash, draw 1 card. Okay, that's fine, no big deal. It draws a card, it gets rid of itself. But there's more. Then bring into play 1 character with the characteristic Blackbeard Pirates other than Kuzan with a cost of 5 or less from your trash. It replaces himself. It draws a card, and you can't get rid of it through normal means. You have to attack through it. But they're just gonna play it, scare you with it, activate it, and bring out, I don't know, something with Rush. Or just something that's not fun to play against. But it's just a crazy idea that you get to draw a card and play a card from your trash. There's no cost to that. Like removing him from the field, you get another character. That's not a cost. You get to draw a card. That's not a cost. That's a benefit. I don't see a downside to this character. And if you do, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear what you think is bad about this card. Because I don't think there is anything bad about this card. Plus, look at that alt art. Oh my goodness. What are they doing? Alright, let's move on. There, I believe, is no other SR. No super rare, but we do get a Monkey D. Luffy secret rare. Good consolation prize, I think. Once per turn, this character cannot be KO'd by opponent's effects. Fair enough, Gear 4. When attacking, you can place 3 cards from your trash on the bottom of your deck in any order. If your opponent has 5 or more cards in their hand, they must discard 1 card from their hand. That's pretty cool. I don't know if that's better than the first gear for Luffy that we got in Dressrosa, but hand control is quite nice. Not being able to be KO'd by opponent's effects is really nice as well. Overall, very nice card. Very good. It has counter, it has a good amount of power, good cost benefit there. Is there anything? I mean, hand control is really interesting. We do have I believe it's the Nami over here that does hand control. No, it's the Chopper. The chopper does the same thing. If your opponent has 5 or more cards in their hand, discard 1 card, then place top 2 of your trash. And that's going to be pretty similar for all the Dressrosa stuff. It's going to take the cost of your leader or stage being rested, and then does something, and then finally discards 2 cards. So they're pretty hefty effects. If you're playing a lot of these, you only get 2 of them per turn. You only have 1 stage and 1 leader. So if you have to rest a leader or stage every time you activate an effect, that limits your resources quite a bit. And then you have to get rid of 2 cards, which is fine because that's part of the previous Dressrosa engine where you get a bunch of cards in your trash and then you remove them to do cool stuff. Not a big deal there. This one, you rest this character and one of your leaders or stages, draw 1 card, then place the top 2 cards of your deck. So it's really interesting because you're deck thinning like crazy and you're getting to draw a card. I think it would just be really disappointed to draw 1 card and then trash 2 cards that you wanted. But there's Gecko Moria, there's other stuff to do, trash retrieval. I don't know if these 2 cards work together. I don't think they're perfect for each other, but if that is the way the game's going, we could see a lot more things that pull stuff out of the trash. But next up we have some crazy stuff for the Blackbeard Pirates. Jesus Burgess. With 1 Dawn attached, if you have 8 or more cards in your trash, this character gains Rush, which is kind of crazy for a 5-cost 6k power. Very easily attained 8 cards in trash with various things. I mean, you're going to be playing cards, you're going to be moving things around. It's going to happen. So this card's going to have Rush at some point. And by the end of the game, you surprising your opponent with a 7k Rush attack out of basically nowhere is very good. I would not be disappointed to see this in in-game. Unless I'm losing, and then I might be winning because of it. I don't know. It's, I think, very good. You also have Shiryu. During your opponent's turn, this character gains 2,000 power. Activate main once per turn if your leader has characteristics Blackbeard Pirates, and so it's rewording around the on-play things because you can't use on-play effects. KO up to one of your opponent's characters with original cost of 3 or less. Yeah, it's probably helpful. There might be other cards in your card pool that could do it better, but that Blackbeard Pirate trait really helps you get into not having to play too many other types. Keeps the searchability up. Let's see, we have the event card here. This KOs, I believe the translation for Shichibukai is 7 warlords, so this just kills 7 warlords. Kind of weird to have that, unless they start doing side decks where or best of 3 matches where you could add cards in. I think that's a weird, really hard thing to put into a deck that you're not always going to be playing against Doflamingo. Next up, Gum Gum Rhino Hauser. Up to one of your characters with a characteristic Dressrosa get 2,000 power during this turn. After that, if you have 10 or more cards in your trash, that card gains Banish. That's pretty awesome. I mean, like I just said, 8 cards in your trash isn't going to be very hard. In Dressrosa, 10 is not going to be hard at all. And it doesn't even say you have to recycle them to the bottom of your deck like the Luffy does. This is straight up, if they're there, 2,000 plus Banish. And for cards that get double attack or whatever that Luffy does, that's really good. Especially for a 1 cost. That's crazy for a 1 cost. Gaining Banish for 1 is, I think, really good. Last event here. If you have 2 or more characters less than your opponent, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with original cost of 6 or less, and one of your opponent's characters with original cost of 4 or less. That's good. You have to have 2 or less characters on the board. So if they have 2 and you have none, that type of math. KO 6 or less and a 4 or less. That's pretty great. I mean, it costs 6, so it is very balanced. And it has a trigger that negates up to one of your opponent's leaders or characters, which is a very good trigger as well. So I'll have to look and see how Blackbeard is playing events right now to see if a 6 cost KO 2 cards is worth it. Because if your board state is always very high, you always have more characters than your opponent, then this card doesn't really come into play. It's a good comeback from behind card, but if you're never expecting to be behind, then it's not a good card to have. I believe that's everything we have here. The Dressrosa stuff is interesting. It does what it usually does. This one brings back a 3 or less from your trash, so getting stuff into the trash is not a big deal as long as it's 3 or less. Ryuma gains double attack with a Dawn. That's really cool. Yeah, I like this set. What I can get down to is I like the utility that this set brought for Black and for the decks that it tried to bring stuff for. Blackbeard Pirates got 2 or 3 really ridiculous cards. Dressrosa got a addition to make it more relevant again. Who else is here? Thriller Bark got some stuff. I mean, everything here got something that could be in its deck. It has potential. So I'm really excited to see what Black does. Not that it needs the support. Like, if any color could have a bad set, Black could use several bad sets to make the game feel a little bit more balanced. But once again, we get a really good set for Black. I'm excited to see what people do and how they move away from what they're currently playing. And let me know in the comments if this set has convinced you to move away from your current deck into a Black deck that plays all of these OP10 cards. I would really like to know. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to get more One Piece TCG content, hit that subscribe, and until next time, peace.